My name's Dr. Imogen Smith. Has anyone seen me before doing workshops at all? Me? Yeah, a couple. I'm the training coordinator at Graduate Research, Education and Development, and we look after training and support for HDR students like you. Just a little tiny bit of housekeeping. The bathroom's just across the void. Is anyone in Ibby? You're right behind. They're behind, aren't they? Yeah. So there's bathrooms around behind there. If there's a notice to evacuate, just head straight out the front door. Please put your phones on silent now, or turn them off if you prefer. And I'm going to send you an email straight after this survey asking for your feedback. And I'd love to hear what you think and what you think you can improve and what was useful, what you wanted to know more about. It'll only take a couple of minutes. It's just a few multiple choice questions and a chance to today we have, I'm just going to give you a quick introduction and talk to you a little bit about your skills and how you can articulate them and frame them. We've got Catherine Theobald, who's our Industry Partnerships Officer. Some of you know her. Who's going to give a talk about how you can contextualise your skills and opportunities, current opportunities to do so. Katie is very well known for running internships for HDR students at Houston. Probably a lot of you have heard about that. There are other opportunities as well to demonstrate your leadership, to work with mentors, to explore some projects. So she's going to talk to you about those because that's the stuff that Katie manages is a really great way to form a bridge between your research studies and your career, or your return to your career. After that, we've got a careers expert called Stephanie Bonson, who's going to come and do quite a long workshop with you about career development. And that's after we've had our afternoon tea break, and we've got lots of goodies for afternoon tea. All the resources from today are going to be available on our Blackboard community, and that's the community address there. In the email I send you about the survey, you'll have a link to that as well. So watch out for that follow-up. So, who's heard talk of transferable skills? If you've come to one of our workshops, you probably have. Okay. Anyone who's new to the Grant team and what we do you know what transferable skills are? What do you think I mean by transferable skills? Anyone want to have a go?
These skills are we obtained from our study, and then we get that skills to our career in the future.
Yeah, so you do obtain them from your study, absolutely, and they are very desirable in the workplace.
Time management.
Time management, yeah. Have you done this before? Yeah. Anyone else who hasn't been to one of our workshops want to talk to transferable skills? Give me an idea the way they interpret it.
Skills that are useful in one field or one area can be transferred to another field and area where they can be worked.
Absolutely. Sometimes people call them soft skills, but I actually hate this because there's nothing soft about them. They're actually... I did a PhD at QT, but I got hired for my transferable skills. The other things that I developed. Not for the thesis that I wrote. No one has ever asked me what my thesis was about. And it might be different for some of you. Thank you. It was on the sociology of literature.
Oh, cool.
I know. But I'm a really good writer, I'm a really good presenter, I'm good at critical thinker, I'm a good problem solver, and I can manage a project. So that's why I've got this job. It's a tenured academic job. So I'm happy. Yeah, I know, right? So I'm a good example, actually, of how this works. So let me run back. Okay, anyone in here want to tell me what job they want, or what kind of career they want to return to when they finish their studies? No, don't cry, come on. And it's okay to, and the other thing is, I think sometimes HDR students get frightened off an academic career. It's 100% achievable. You've just got to start planning for it now. It's 100% achievable. but you have to have a plan, and you have to know what you need and start working on it. So, anyone here want to tell me what kind of job they sort of want to get?
Oh, research.
Research?
Full-blown research, basic
Research. Do you care if it's in academia or industry?
I prefer academia for a little bit more flexibility and you can actually follow what you do, whereas in industry it's this is your project, this is what you do, you find something interesting or you don't care because it's not quite enough.
Yeah, it can be. Yeah.
So I've done both for academia, like actual basic research.
Yeah. Anyone else want to tell me? This gentleman at the back is very brave. He's done all the answering so far. So
I like to research and something.
wow. Yeah. Okay. And what field are you in exactly? Okay. Interesting. Yes. Anyone else? One more. Yes.
Well, I'm a visual artist, but I'm interested in how creative practice is good for mental health.
Yeah.
And constantly overlap.
Yeah. It's multidisciplinary or transdisciplinary kind of practice, research practice. Very interesting. Thinking about, and you don't have to answer out loud if you're introverted because 99% of researchers are, thinking about the job you want to get, what sorts of skills do you think you need? And the research, the discipline knowledge, the in-depth discipline knowledge like the dietetics, it kind of goes without saying, but alongside that, what do you think you need?
Confidence.
Confidence? Yes?
More than anything like that.
Confidence with people skills?
Confidence in yourself and what you've learned, in your own skills and being able to do the challenges in front of you,
Yeah.
in being able to talk about yourself, rather than hiding and being humble.
Yeah.
Being able to really
I think
your praise.
we can unpack that a bit more. I think that, that confidence is a bit, it's not so much a skill, is it? And I think that we could fall into the trap of thinking that confidence is you're kind of born with it if you're lucky, and but I think you can have confidence if you have some training in articulating your skills and what you're good at and your achievements, and experience dealing with people, sometimes dealing with difficult people, good communication skills, navigating difficult conversations. These sorts of things are all part of being confident in a professional sense. So we can unpack things too. Anyone else have some skills that they think they're going to need in the workforce or in their chosen career? Time management, yeah. And you'd be surprised how many people don't have great time management and how essential it is. If you want to be an academic, you're going to have to juggle what? Deadlines, yeah.
Grants.
Grants, so grant writing.
Ethics.
Ethics, yeah. Students who think that you're going to be able to answer questions at midnight before an assignment's due.
Actual research experiment.
Oh yeah, doing the research. Yeah, all these things. Yeah, excellent. Any others? Yes? Resilience, yeah. Absolutely. Anyone who wants, it's relevant to any career, but if you want an academic career, the number of times you get knocked back and you've got to pick yourself up the next day and write another application or, submit your journal to some other publication, it's constant and it's really an important skill to have or important quality to work on while if you're headed that way. Any other transferable skills? Yeah.
Project management.
Yeah. Okay, so thinking about some of these things that we've talked about, we talked a little bit about communication skills, time management skills, project management, resilience. My next question is, how do you think you've gained these during your research degree? How would you evidence these? I have good time management skills because I...
You do 7 experiments in 1 day.
Sorry?
I was in time for milestones.
That's really hard. You have to get to nail a milestone, you've got to manage a lit review, you've got to manage feedback cycles from your supervisor, you've got to prepare a presentation. It's a project and you're managing it. Any other skills that people... Resilience, how have you developed your resilience during your research degree?
None of the experiments have gone wrong.
Oh, but you kept going, didn't you? Yeah. I think all HDRs have a lot of evidence around resilience that they could use to demonstrate competency in that area. Anyone else? Anyone else want to volunteer some skills they think they've developed during their degree so far? Yeah? No? Well, you moved suddenly, so I thought, no.
I just want to talk about the communication skill between you and your supervisor to
Yeah.
even just speak out what you want and what the
Yeah.
supervisors
That's absolutely right. So communication skills can be evidenced through I suppose, through the relationship you have with your supervisor. And another thing that's really useful to kind of reflect on is your ability to manage up. If you can manage a meeting with your supervisor, who's an incredibly busy person, get the feedback that you need, lock them in for the next meeting, you're managing up. And sometimes these are really important people. Some of your supervisors will be really high-flying academics here at QUT or externally. That's a really, really great skill. Something to reflect on. Selection criteria as a author, you need to speak about it in an interview. You've done that. Okay, that's pretty much me. I didn't bother using my slides because we don't have the clicker. But now my colleague Catherine Theobald is going to talk to you. A little bit more later. She's going to talk to you later. In the meantime, a little bit, the clickers arrived, about contextualising your skills. But she's going to go in much deeper, obvious stuff, yeah, into what I've just talked about.
Okay, it's me. Hi, everyone. I'm going to remain. I'm going to get you all removed, actually, because we have lots of space and I want you guys to talk to each other. So can I get everyone saying the last two, three rows to come and sit at the front? So if you're the front rows already, that's fine. You just have some friends joining you.
Yeah, I'll try that.
I throw a picture in here. Oh, I don't know. Okay. 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 Can I ask, who here is doing a PhD? Everyone? Anyone who's doing an MPhil? Okay. Yay! One person. Okay. Oh, that's a master's by research. Everyone else is PhD, right? Oh, master's by research. Okay. Great. Now faculties. Who here is from Faculty of Health? Creative industries? Business? Seth? Okay. Law? Education? Okay, good. One minute. Okay. The other question that I have for you, at this point in time, when you think about your career, when you finish your HDR degree, who wants to stay on and be an academic? Yeah. Who's thinking of a role in industry, government, non-profit space? Okay. And then who's unsure at this stage? It seems like there are a few people putting hands up. Okay, great. Well, hopefully what I'm doing today, actually, do we have any resolution on this? No. I'm also going to stand kind of half in between because I have slides to talk to you about today. Hopefully what I'm telling you and talking about today will help you regardless of what career path you want to go on. So the idea is that when you build your skill set during candidature and when you start evidencing it in your HDR journey, it can be applied to kind of whatever career in the future that you want. So if you want to go into academia or industry, or you're not too sure yet, or maybe if you have one of those careers, the research says it's actually really common, which is that you do a bit of both and you go backwards and forwards throughout your degree, your career. Okay, so sorry. As Imogen said, my name is Catherine and I work within the grade team at QUT. So Greg, this is us. If Imogen hasn't mentioned it already, or even if she has, I'm going to plug it again. We send you a fortnightly email alert. We kind of collate...
I haven't.
You haven't?
No, you do that.
Get it in. So we collate all the different training that is available to you guys as HDR students into the one email. So that is sent out fortnightly, like this week. So you should receive it either this afternoon or tomorrow for this week's edition. And we bring all together all the optional learning journey.
It's alive.
Yes. Cool, which is right in time. Because what I want to talk about first is HDR skills autonomy. This is something that you all were given when you walked in the room. Did everyone get one? Yeah, yay, someone actually did what I said. So, the skills audit tool is a really useful thing that we've developed. There's lots of research behind it, but we've identified kind of the key skills and components that HDR students need for their future career, as well as things they're developing throughout their degree, and what industry and academics or the future career options are going to look for, the skills that you need. Now, in the email alert that I talked about, there is a lot going on in there, and there's so much optional training that you can access during a HDR degree. So the skills audit is a really useful tool to help you identify some gaps and areas that you can do better in, or areas that you need to evidence things. So I'll leave you to have a read through. Currently it exists and you can get a soft copy. It's on the grade website. It's available as a Word document and PDF, so you can edit it as you like. But it lists the skills that people are looking for, that you need, that you're developing. And kind of there's two main components to it. One is where you can self-assess, where you think you currently sit with your skills. I'd be kind of disappointed if anyone in this room said that they were a 5 at everything, thinking that they were the best. I think there's always room for you to grow. There's also always really good opportunities for you to actually reflect on where you are at with the certain skills. The main column though is the one at the end, because it doesn't really matter where you assess yourself at, because that's purely for your purposes. The end column is all about how you evidence it. It's also where you can plan future training options. Because with any job application that you're going to do in the future, you always have to evidence how you have a particular skill or how you've done something in the past. So it's the evidencing part that's key, and that's where my role comes in within the grade team. So my role is all about industry engagement experiences and opportunities for students to help contextualise their learning. So to give you opportunities to help fill in that last column about how you can evidence your skills. So one of the pathways that I get these opportunities is I'm often talking about HDR students collectively to industry. And believe it or not, you guys are actually incredibly valuable outside of academia. So if you look at, this is the AQF level 10 criteria of what the standards are that a PhD student should be leading at. In particular, there is graduate this level will apply knowledge and skills to demonstrate autonomy, authoritative judgment, adaptability, and responsibility as an expert and leading practitioner or scholar. The skills listed there: autonomy, being able to exercise judgment, adaptability, responsibility. These are all key transferable skills that industry and people outside of academia and within academia are looking for. There's been so many government reports published about how employers can't fill their skills gap. And the skills gap are mostly about these soft, transferable skills we call them PUC. So you already, as a part of your HDR journey, are coming equipped with them. The next step is how you articulate them and how you can sell them and how you are aware of them yourself to be able to do that in industry. So this is the pitch that I use when selling you guys to industry, and they love it. So we talk about that HDR students are problem solvers and that you can think creatively and use your research-based practice. And this is something that's really attractive. A lot of where students fall down though is that they struggle to communicate these broader skills to industry. So a lot of the time when industry reads a pitch like this, they're like, great, this sounds like the kind of person I want to engage with. when you break it down so that we're talking like PhD students, or if you have those initial discussions before they read this, they kind of go, I'm not too sure. PhD students have a tendency to overemphasize the importance of their research, or can only sort of think within that frame. I can't see how a student who did that kind of research is applicable in the real world. And so part of what we're doing here is helping you guys with your employment prospects and kind of creating these industry engagement opportunities. But we're also trying to change the conversation more broadly about the benefit of a HDR student and what they bring to the real world. And even if you're sort of dead set on becoming an academic and that's the path that you want to go on, having these industry engagement skills and networks and collaboration experience is also incredibly valuable if you want to be an academic. So this is from the ACOLA report in 2016, where it talks about the 3 core domains that academics are judged on. So it's your teaching, your research, but also your community industry engagement. Increasingly, lots of funding is linked to one of the criteria on grant applications, as well as that to help you do your research, is linked to whether the research applies to the real world, or if the researcher has experience in that space. Shaking your head at me.
Yep.
Why?
Because basic research is basic research. You do research for research's sake. You're not finding out whether there is an actual industry, like a product or something that you can sell with it, because most of the great discoveries we've had aren't actually looking to sell a product.
Yeah.
They're just looking to find out what's happening. And then from those basic research, then we actually do get eventually to the product. But if we don't have the actual basic research done beforehand, it doesn't matter what you do at the end, because you've got nothing to stand on.
Yeah, and I agree with you. When I say community industry, I'm not necessarily talking about product and research commercialization, but the ability
The
to...
NHMRC is.
Pardon?
That the NHMRC is in the government.
Yeah, and that is the landscape of how these grant funding is at the moment, and whether you agree with it or not. In fact, I don't know whether I went to a talk recently in this where I had some leaders in the biotech industry, and they were talking about this. What they're actually saying is that research for research's sake, especially in the health field, is really important because you never know. It builds upon things, you never know where it's going to lead. However, the thing I would add to that though is that research that happens in universities that stays solely universities but can't be communicated to different audiences, and that may be communicating at conferences, getting communication out to journal publications. To be able to build on that knowledge, you still need to be able to communicate more broadly. And also for research sake, you still need at least a basic, well, you need a kind of a well-developed understanding of what the problem is too. So it's not necessarily engagement to give back or to sell a product at the end, but it can be to fully understand that problem and how it is impacting people and sort of how this, what the potential applications of research are, or even sort of to fully understand the problem that you're discovering, still needs engagement with stakeholders.
Yeah, I agree. It needs engagement.
Communities.
Yeah. It's just the way it is now with current government funding arrangements. It's sort of you need that industry link and you almost have to sell a product.
Yeah. So that's a problem, especially if you're going to research. Oh, that's a thing.
Yeah.
Especially if you're going to research and soon. But think of it too as 20, 30 year career, how funding arrangements are going to potentially change over time.
I agree.
As well, and regardless, these are still kind of 3 core skills to be working towards within for kind of whatever career path that you're after. Okay, so in terms of the skills audit and how you would use it with industry engagement activities, there's kind of 3 main benefits of how industry engagement works. One is a chance to evaluate and assess your skills in the real world. It may be one thing to look at the leadership or the teamwork bringing on this and kind of have a think about how you work in a team. It's another to actually go and work in a team and then reflect on that experience and to be able to assess yourself properly. Practice. Again, if you're doing something, you practice teamwork and things like a hackathon. A hackathon might be a really good example to test where you think you're at with your teamwork skills. It's an ability to then practice those teamwork skills, and then it would give you something to sort of demonstrate and evidence what you're talking about to show that you have that skill set. So when it comes to so when we have a look at, there's a wide range of opportunities that are available for HDR students to sort of engage them and kind of contextualise your learning throughout your HDR degree. Again, just like your training, what I suggest is you go back to the skills audit, have a really honest reflection and think about where your skills are, fill them out. This should kind of be a living document that you use throughout candidature. There's something too that I encourage you to speak to your supervisors about, that you can edit it as you go along and use it to inform what kind of training and opportunities you want to participate in during candidature to help complement your learning. So all of these opportunities are optional. You don't have to do any additional training. You don't have to do industry engagement activities. The reason we do it is to help broaden your learning throughout your HDR degree. So there's a range of different things here. They can, you'll see from some of these examples, they can range from 2-hour networking events where you come along and you interact with a range of different industry stakeholders, government, other researchers, up to 3-month internships. We can also facilitate things like short-term work experience opportunities. There's things like hackathons, mentoring programs, all that you can participate in during candidature. So here are some of the main ones that I can put out there. So there's Enactus, which is where it's a team-based activity that runs once a year, where you work on social enterprises, so like businesses for good. The last year's Enactus, the QT winners, went on and won a national competition and went and represented Australia at international awards which are held at San Francisco, somewhere in the States. There's the Grand Challenge Lecture Series, which is held by the Institute of Future Environments. What they do in that institute is they work on sort of these big wicked problems that can have input and a research approach from a variety of different angles. So they generally get guest speakers in to come and talk about a broad range of topics, but they're designed so that most of your research can plug into these sort of topics in some kind of way. In this is a one-year mentoring program that we have for students who are doing a degree somewhat related to STEM. We still have a few spaces open for the round in this that will be running from July to June, from July this year to June 2020. If you're interested, come and see me afterwards in the break, because we only have a few spots left. Applications are technically closed, but we'll be trying to fill those last few spots. You get matched with the leading researcher in the field. So in this, you have to be a PhD student who's ideally past confirmation or very close to confirmation, and somewhat related to a STEM area. We've also got the 3M visualization piece, which I'll talk about in a second. PUT Foundry hosts a variety of training available to students, including lots of things about pitching, which is all helpful skills in terms of public speaking and how to communicate your research. There's Open Camp, which is an intensive weekend for startups. There's a range of stuff. Health Hack is something that's really good. It brings together multidisciplinary and transdisciplinary teams to work together on health problems pitched by providers in South East Queensland. So I know that one of the organisers actually works in the PUT Foundry, and so she has a patent attorney experience, but she was working with a design student and a robotics student on one of the pitches they did last year, the year before. So really, whatever your discipline is, and it's called Health Hack, it's a way of bringing whatever your discipline-specific knowledge is and applying it to a solution. Okay, a note about communication skills. So if you look at communication skills here, a lot of the events that I talked about and that I'm about to talk about really hone in on developing your communication skills. In particular, the ability to summarise and adapting to a range of different audiences. This here, adapting to a range of audiences, is one of the key areas that I find is most valuable to a HDR student. But unfortunately, it's where when I see things go wrong when the student communicating, I see them go wrong really quite badly. So I'm about to talk about a couple of ways that you can build your communication skills. We also have a series of information booklets that were developed specifically for Queensland HDR students, which are available on the Grid Wiki. on the Grad Blackboard page, which you can access. To give you an example of why communication skills are so important, we recently had an internship opportunity for a HDR student, where the students were given open slather to pitch how their research and how their skills would work for this company in their internship. Specifically, this company was really interested in a student who had AI machine learning skills. So the student got in the room for the interview and pitched how they would tackle this problem. But they did it in such an intricate level of detail. I should add that this student is actually an expert, one of the university's leading students in the AI machine learning space. At the end of the interview, the people around the room, when the student left, looked around and said, to the students' interviews, that was interesting. It would have been really great had we had a student who was a discipline expert in machine learning AI. They'd spent 40 minutes in the room with one, and that student would have absolutely been able to get an internship had they been able to communicate their skills and their expertise clearly enough. What was happening was the student was describing their research in such specific terms that the HR manager and the CEO, as well as the IT person in the room, had no idea what they were talking about. This is where adapting to a range of audiences comes in. As part of your HDR degree, with all your milestones in your final seminar, we're teaching you to actually be really specific and to be really sort of discipline specific and to talk about that nitty-gritty detail, which is great when you're talking to other discipline experts. However, most people are not going to be discipline experts or at the same level that you guys are. You're specialists in your field. So the ability to be able to adapt your message to a wide range of audiences and to read who you're speaking to is actually a really valuable skill, and the best way to get that skill is to practice it. So practice talking to people around you and your colleagues. I'll talk at the end about being practice talking to your Uber driver about your research and the barbecue pitch.
Friends, family.
Friends, yes. Which
Their eyes are glazing over in about 20 seconds.
yes, we do not want people's eyes glazing over. So I think if you're sitting next to someone in discipline, pretend like you don't know what the person's talking about, because now this is the reason why I have to sit together. I want to spend the next few minutes, chat to the person sitting next to you or those around you in really brief terms. I want everyone to get a chance to talk, so that's why it has to be brief. Briefly explain who you are and your research and its general impact on where you are in the HDR journey. In 2 minutes, everyone has to chat. So be brief, be succinct, and hopefully everyone will understand what I'm saying. Go! Who understood what the other person was saying? Yeah? Okay, most of you? That's good. Okay, was it easy? Was it hard? How did you find that?
Good. Moderate.
Moderate?
Yeah, go for moderate. It's hard to get rid of all the jargon and the TLAs or the acronyms. Just get down to
Like
basics.
specific terms, we need to add, which we are not from the same background. But now the specific terms.
Yeah. And well, so that's the thing, and this is why it's a really good idea to practice it. This was just a little taster. But this is where things like networking events come in handy, because you always introduce yourself, especially events that you're speaking to people from a wide range of disciplines, because you can't use that specific terminology. Or if you do, the other person's not going to understand you. So this is the kind of thing to practice a lot, talk to your Uber driver, talk to everyone who speaks to you. Generally, when you tell people you're doing a HDR degree, I suspect one of the first questions you get in your response is, what are you researching? Yes?
How do you leave a work? For example, my whole work is on polymers. So if I'm talking to a person who has no clue about polymers, my 6 or 7 years of research is on polymers. So I don't know what else I could possibly talk. Unless you have a basic chemistry knowledge, I can't have something at all.
You say you got single segments of something and then you join them together. Imagine plastic. That's
Yeah,
what
polymer
polymers
and plastic. That's what I would think. Plastic. That's where I would start.
So, some way you could approach that is I would probably Google how to simply explain what polymer is. Or even try and sort of, okay, we can workshop this collectively if you're happy to. So polymers, what about polymers? Like what specifically is the research?
I use polymer to identify the cancer cells. So I use a current on a polymer on a regular substrate, and then I conduct an analyte which helps me detecting the cancer cells. That's the simplest.
Okay, so can I tell you something? I understood cancer cells and identifying cancer cells. That's about all I got, and because I do not have a health background. So sometimes it's sort of stepping right back, and maybe you're not talking about polymers specifically. If you're talking to a very generalized audience, maybe you're talking about like that identification, and you're focusing on the why. Like why do you do research, or why is it important, or something like that. I don't always have easy answers. For some, and part of it too is, so this is actually being really valuable because we've identified then that explaining your research in simple terms is really hard to do. And actually, I suspect that that's the case for most of you. Explaining it to a non-specialized audience is quite difficult.
Before they glaze over.
Before they glaze over. Yeah. Most people really want to understand research, and actually this comes to a problem too, where I meet with a lot of organisations, and including people who have like the heads of philanthropic funding and stuff, and they say to me, in fact I was meeting with the general manager of a large bank just last week, and he said to me, I'm so excited about research, I'm fired up, and I love what people are doing at university these days. I don't always understand what they're saying to me about it, especially when I want to give them money to help fund their research. Now this is not a guy who was looking at sort of the end result of commercialization, but he was sort of wanting to see what the potential links could be for funding it and sort of why this problem is important. So you can do it kind of that way. But actually, if I do my slides correctly, yes, I did. 3-minute thesis. So the 3-minute thesis is a competition, but at QUT we see it as more than a competition, and as more of a training exercise and a research showcase. So if students who participate in the 3-minute thesis competition, we'll actually be getting in expert facilitators who will be helping you address that very issue. How do you communicate complex sort of research ideas that you spend 5-6 years, the entire research sort of life working on, or do just this HDR degree, and how you can communicate it to a generalist audience. This is what the 3MT is all about, it's what it was designed to do. And like I said, so QT invests a lot of money in it. We actually paid for an external facilitator to come in and offer this training and do a much better job at sort of answering your question than I'm doing right now. So applications for the 3-minute thesis competition will be opening up very shortly. I know that if you're in health, the competition is taking place around the 22nd of August. The information is on the website. I strongly encourage you to become involved, put your hand up to participate. It's open to all HDR students. We provide training. It's also got great exposure benefits. So the PhD winner last year had very formal views and media releases published about their research. The QT Grand Final will be held in Fortitude Valley in the precinct in our startup entrepreneur space, as well as external stakeholders are engaged in community throughout the process. Yes?
Do you need to have results for it?
Not necessarily. There's a range of sort of different things. So QT's winner last year was actually at the early stages of his research, because he was doing research on climate change and how it affects health in atolls, so in Kiribati in particular. He did it at that point because he was waiting to get approval to go to his research in Kiribati, so he didn't have his results yet. But he's over there now collecting the data. So you can do it at any stage. You can also do it more than once. So maybe, and this is what I say, take away the focus on the competition element of it. Think of it as a training activity. Come along, get that training. You may enter it 3 years in a row.
I didn't realise it was actually training that was the whole process before. I thought it was just turn up on the day and bulk and cut this in 2 minutes.
How did we meet in a great email list?
Yeah, this day and age when you get 100 emails a day.
Well, see, that's why we don't email it. We try and collate it into one email, and so say
It's easier to sorry.
Would you like me to stand here? So yeah, there's all this training, and I guess part of the reason is it's a great thing that you showed up today is I'm getting out and trying to communicate this about with my MD as much as possible. So after you leave here, go out and communicate to your peers as well. Communicate to fellow HDR students as help get the message out about FreeMT. Because for when I sit, which my end goal is to get students into internships, this is a really great way of practicing all those skills to get to that end point. And like I said, we're taking away against the competition, and we're also trying to build a community of practice. So HDR students supporting each other for the benefit of how we can all communicate our research clearly. And we'll be inviting some pretty some people to the grand final event and to the faculty as well who are really interested in research and who are really keen to hear what HDR students are doing. So you might not win the competition, but you might do such a great speech on the night that it appeals to that particular industry group and they want to connect with you and support your research in other ways. Another competition that if public speaking isn't your thing, and you're not quite there yet, or you've got on the milestones in the middle of the year this year and at the time which isn't the right for you to visualise your thesis, you can do both FreeMT and visualise your thesis. In visualise your thesis, you're just creating a short 1-minute video about your research. So there's, again, the art of communicating your research in this 1-minute sort of short visual story. But the finalists for this, as well as there being a visualise your thesis final, will also be showcased at the Research Bazaar, which is bringing together students from all different Queensland universities in July. And it will also be bringing together, it will also be showcased at the FreeMT Grand Finale event in late August, early September. So it's another great way to get research out. Also, last year's winners were only found out this last week. The general manager of the bank that I spoke to last week, he had actually seen some of the visualisation thesis entrants from last year because they were showcased at a dinner at Parliament House in Canberra last year. So it's a really great way to get that exposure out again for your research, as well as the training to practice communicating and everything. Also, visualisation thesis as well as FreeMT. So with FreeMT, we actually get a professional videographer in. So you've got that nice sort of professionally edited video of you communicating the research that you can use on social media. We also promote those videos on social media. You can add it to your CV. I know 3-minute thesis last year, used it as an opportunity with the bigger thing to actually obtain fellowship. So it wasn't focused on competition, but still as a stepping stone. So, the capstone to everything that's kind of in the GO framework with all the extra training and the sort of short industry engagement opportunities that you can do during candidature is the HDR internships. So, like I said, internships provide opportunities to practice evidential skills in the real world while building important connections with industry, placing you in a great position to succeed with your future career. Break that down. What it means is you guys is hopefully doing a whole heap of skills development throughout candidature. I mean, you are, even if you're just doing the basics without adding any of the additional skills into the mix. However, when you get to the end of your degree, even if you have sort of short-term evidence in it, the internships are a great way for you to go out and put those skills into practice in the real world on a short-term research project. It also gives you a referee, someone who can attest to these skills that isn't your supervisor and that is outside that university ecosystem, which is worked really well for students in the past. So you work on a very clearly defined research project. This isn't a sort of an internship where you would work crazy hours. You would do the normal full-time workload. Really, it's more like 80% time workload because it's time off to speak to your academic mentor throughout. You're supported by QUT insurance. The project scope too has been agreed upon and had to be approved by people in the faculty, by the academic mentor, by myself and by our Office of Research Services. So it's very much a clearly sort of defined project that is setting you up to succeed. It's not just this very vague thing where we're not too sure about what will be required. That's all to help you succeed. You're also supported by an academic mentor throughout this whole process. Now, this academic mentor doesn't have to be your supervisor, although it can be. An academic mentor is someone who might have connections within that industry, or it might be someone who wants to get benefits, being academic benefits for them. But the idea of the academic mentor is it's all about championing you throughout the project. So it really is providing some kind of career mentoring throughout if they have a sort of discipline specific knowledge that they can bring to the problem that might be outside your expertise. So projects have to be separate to your thesis research, which means your IP is protected because all the IP is owned by the industry partner. You do receive a scholarship for taking part. So when you lodge your thesis for examination, if you are in a scholarship, the scholarship stops. So this is a way to receive a scholarship in that examination period for the duration of the internship. That scholarship is actually funded by the industry. So they're saying that they evaluate research as part of it. So there are 2 sources for internships that we then advertise on the QUT website. There's a whole range of people out there trying to source internships for students like myself to participate in. So they're designed to be mutually beneficial arrangements. Importantly for you guys, it's the benefits I've already discussed. It's really able to kind of cement those skills with a real world example to show that you have great teamwork skills, that you can communicate outside of your discipline, that you can communicate results to industry and to a board, all that sort of thing. Also, some benefits that are listed here, which kind of come up a lot, is often it leads to industry collaborative research papers being written and published. It also, a lot of the time, what the work that the student does on the internship is just a small kind of introduction to a larger research project that industry wants to focus on. So the internship can lead to fellowships or to quite larger grant applications being put forward based on the work done in the internship. So it's a really good way to connect students in. All our students so far have gotten jobs out of the internships or as a result of the internship, but not always with the internship provider. They've been offered jobs with the internship provider, but a lot of the time they turn them down because somewhere throughout this journey they've gotten a better job offer through a connection that they've made through the internship, or because being able to cement those skills with a real world example has made them more attractive. And so there's a student who's currently doing a postdoc in Canada, and the thing that made the difference to their application was having this real world experience. So, getting an internship. The very first thing, and which you can do now, students with orientation, is submit an email line on the grade website. This gives me a little bit of information about who you are, that you're potentially interested in this program, what your skill set is, and what your research is. We then use this list, we de-identify it and send it out to business developers across the university and research developers. So for when we're having these conversations, we can source and try and find internships for our student talent. It also helps in forward planning, looking at who's looking for an internship when, what their skill set are, and matching up with some of the large corporate clients who we're having long-term discussions with at CUT. So how you actually get one once you're registered, there's two options. You can apply for an advertised internship, or you can work with your supervisor and your network, people around you that you meet during the HDR degree to source your own. So, like I said, we go out, there's a whole group of people trying to source these internships at QUT. They're included and sort of cemented as part of QUT's broader corporate engagement strategy. So some very high-level people at the university have these internships in mind when they're speaking with some of our biggest external partners. And when we get them to an internship state, we advertise them on the grad website here. So this is what it looks like. This is an old example and a screenshot now. So you're welcome to apply for these in the lead up to the thesis examination. I know some of the ones we've got advertised now that close in late May, for example, an internship will be starting on July, August. So in the last 6 months of your candidature, have a look at these opportunities and apply when you see something. Something I will say is we sometimes do get very short, or we get opportunities in a really short turnaround time when there isn't necessarily time to advertise, in which case we just go straight to the ELI list. That's another benefit to registering early. While applying for that position is great, and there are some really exciting opportunities that come through this way, it's allocating a moving target in that there'll be an internship opportunity available at the time when you are in the thesis examination that matches your skill sets that you are able to secure because they are a competitive process. Anyone sourced by QUT is open to just QUT students, but for some of the APR internships, they are only available to PhD students and they are capped on the number of international students that they can take. So the second option to really have a think about to find an internship that's the best fit for you is to work with your network to source your own internships. So this is a really great example too of by building your network and so building what we would call network capital throughout your HDR degree. It is really important for your future career success that you don't know it, but most jobs actually come around, they're not advertised, they come about through your network. Which is why those other things during candidature are important. But when you get towards the end, I can work with you and the business developers around the university as well as with any dedicated careers educator that we base in the grad team can work with you to help source an internship. If you're at that stage and you have some people in mind that you'd like to approach for an internship, you have to tell me first. And the reason for that is not to micromanage what you're doing, but it's because at QUT we have multiple people approaching companies at the same time, and it may be that the best way to secure an internship is rather than having you or your contact speak to them directly, but we can add it on to this broader conversation to help increase the chances of success. A lot of the time, students come to me and say, I've got this partner in mind, I met them at a conference, and we don't have anything else on that, we just say go for it, and they secure an internship that way. But it's always a good idea to keep in the loop because there may be broader conversations happening with that company that will increase your chances of success. A great example we have of one of these is a student at the moment who's doing an internship with the ACNC, so the Australian Charities and Non-Profit Commission. This student was aware of the scheme and met with me very early on, not just as I started last year, to sort of talk about internship opportunities. She then had that conversation with the supervisor really early, so they were both aware that this was a thing that they might want to tap into when she goes on the thesis examination. In that year, before she started her internship though, she was at a conference where I think the CEO of the ACNC, or the top guy, I'm not called CEO, what they did is after his keynote presentation, there was, you have like a networking breakout sort of session with him and T at a conference. They approached him there and pitched the idea of the students' research and how this sort of idea could be applied to one of the problems with the commission or one of the issues that the commission wants to explore and how you would regulate that. And that's how the internship was secured. That's why having these conversations with your supervisor and those around you really early is really key, because you never know where sort of opportunities will arise. The other thing too is that maybe these opportunities don't turn into internships, maybe you just get a job offer, which is even better, if that's what you're looking for. So there's all these sorts of opportunities too. With those Cleveland University's guides, there is one that's specifically about networking, which talks about the value and importance of network capital and all these ideas in far more detail than I am, that you can access here. Each slide will be available on Blackboard afterwards. So, any of this is interesting to you? You're interested? Register now on the Grad Wiki. It's not Grad Wiki anymore. Blackboard, well, actually, the link is just on the HiQ. Yeah, so if you go to HiQ or Digital Workplace, depending which way you're logged in, if you just type in research, student industry engagement, or HDR internships, this link will come up. The same link with the registration page is also the link that has the list of the available opportunities. So what you can do today is, even if you're not at that stage yet, I'd encourage you to really research yourself, research what your skills are, do the skills audit tool, have a look at the opportunities that are currently available, sort of research what's out there and what kind of career options you want to take. Interact with your peers. It's another reason why you're all sitting together. Get to know each other, because you never know what's going to lead in the future. It also makes the HDR journey a lot less lonely. Get involved, try new things. So consider doing a hackathon. Really encourage you all, if you're interested, to think about the 3MT competition quite seriously. You can also let me know if you are interested in this year and you're not already registered. Read the grad email alert and practice articulating your skills and research to a lay audience. I.e., you've got Uber driver. Maybe go and speak to other HDR students as an entry-level point in the break that we're about to have. There's a great academic from CI who says, you don't hear the research done politically like the elevator pitch. We're Australians, and so we do the barbecue pitch instead. So that's something to find. And that's it for me, I think.
Yeah. So we're going to break now for some afternoon tea. So you can have a coffee and some snacks. And we have I said 2 things here, but maybe a little bit more of that. So it's just all out there.
No, we will wait for everyone to come in and grab a seat. So as we'll probably get from the room now.
So like discussion.
Discussion. More discussion. So grab somewhere comfy. So just to start off with, my name is Steph. Hello.
Hi, Steph.
Hey. I can see a couple of familiar faces who are probably already going, oh dear. Oh, here we go. So I am a career educator here at QUT. One of my specialist areas is HDRs and postgrads, and I'm also doing my PhD as well. So, if you see me here on a weekend in thongs and daggy t-shirt with a frown on my face, you know why. So, quick question. Who knew that there were even career educators available to help you before today? Show of hands. Yeah, a couple of people, not bad, including some people that I've spoken to before, so they should know we exist. So yeah, the Student Success Group and Grad as well, we partner together to provide you guys with career support. And that covers anything from how do I find a job to, oh God, what do I do with my life? And everything in between. So for all of our sakes, please come to us early. Please start thinking about your career early. I mean, you guys are already here, so A+ on start. But the more time you give yourself to think around what do I want to do, what are my skills, where do I want to grow, the more opportunities will be available to you. So, awesome that you've come. Don't just do the thing that we all do for workshops, which is go, oh, that was great, I'll get to it. Yeah, been there. So today, what we're going to be focusing on is exploring possibilities and also exploring skills. Now, can I get a quick show of hands? Is anyone absolutely dead set on working in industry? Yeah? What about academia all the way? Yeah, a couple? People that are sort of mixed, not quite sure yet? Yeah, pretty much. Like, I like academia. So, even for those of you that are dead set, I absolutely want to be an academic professor, this is my life, having the ability to communicate with industry and think about how your skills do translate outside academia is still going to be super relevant for your career, because we are seeing a bit of a shift now in that universities are valuing academics that do have industry connections, or at least the ability to connect with industry, to speak the industry language. So even if you're going, oh, I don't really want to work with industry, still a useful skill to have. And we're also going to be looking a bit at next steps and planning. Now, I'm aware it's probably quite a long day, coming up to the pointy end of semester, particularly for anyone who's tutoring. So we're going to make this as interactive and enjoyable as possible. There's going to be a lot of discussion. I'm going to warn you ahead of time. I will be asking people to share what you found in your groups. How you determine who's the person that does that is up to you. But to start off with, we're going to start off nice and easy with a little bit of introspection. So, you will have seen there are some sheets on your table asking you some questions around values. So what I'm going to get you guys to do initially is to just fill out that sheet, just thinking about the values and what's important to you. So we're going to give you guys, let's say, 5 minutes or so. And from there we're going to be having a discussion in your group, but I won't get anyone to share out their values personally. Now there's no right and wrong with these values.
Yes, absolutely. Normally neutral would be neutral and designated. Is that a factor or is it just a neutral is 3 of us. It's like a type scale where we start with 1 and 5. Okay. If you want to cross score yourself, that's fine. Otherwise, we can just shoot 3 scales and go with 3 in the range. What we need to do is do it in a way that makes sense to you.
exciting.
So you guys will see on the back there's a couple of questions about your career and what values are most important to you. You guys just another 2 minutes to finish that up. Then we're going to come back to the group. How are we? Do we need another minute or are we good? I think quite a few people have finished. Yep. Hopefully everyone's had a chance to either finish or do most of that. activities. If you don't get time to finish it, don't worry. This is absolutely something you can do at home, and it's not something that I won't be marking these or anything at the end. So can anyone hazard a guess why I asked you guys to think about your values and what's important to you? Yeah?
I guess all the decisions you make are based on what the values and sometimes shape your life decisions. Yeah, identifying those values can use your root to understand why you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah, so our values can absolutely drive our decisions and drive our preferences. Any other reason?
Because you probably have to compromise somewhere along the line, so you need to know what your values are, to know what's the most important, and to know whether you're going to compromise on that, or whether there's other things that you'll compromise.
Absolutely. It would be lovely if we could all get our ideal dream job that aligns with all of our values, our strengths and our interests. I don't know about you guys, but I've not seen a job advertised that is like reading books and petting cats. So until then, we're going to have to, do roles that maybe sometimes aren't going to be a perfect fit with every aspect of what we're after. Any other reason why we started off with some introspective work?
Time loss to
Yeah.
stuff, getting them to halfway stories and how we work.
Yep, absolutely. So as a background, I'm a psychologist and we tend towards the navel-gazing side of things. But even then, you can go and do a values activity and say, what are my values? And then come back to 6 months later and go, ooh, this has changed. Our values do change as our life changes, as things happening in our lives change, as we get more experience, and often we don't take the time to reflect and see, well, what do I actually want? Which, as you were saying before, we probably need to know what we want and what's important to us when we're making decisions. So the idea with this is, as you guys have all said, to get a sense of where we're starting from, what's important to us, what we want, so we can use that information to make decisions that are going to work for us long term. Make sense? Cool. So, now that we've had the end of the narrative, if we think about the careers that we're interested in, whether that be academic, industry, consultant, circus performer, whatever that is, we've also got to think about how our values fit with our career choice. So personally, I tend to work from a framework of values, strengths and interests. If we find something that's aligned with our values, that's aligned with what we're good at, and that's aligned with what we're interested in, generally we're on to a winner. At the same time, if we're looking at a job that's got a real clash with one of those areas, we're probably not going to be satisfied. If you're a vegan and animal welfare is really important to you, McDonald's probably not a good idea. Yeah? If I can't stand doing maths or stats and I raced through those subjects as fast as I could and I started I was like, never have to do that again. Do you think I'm going to do really well in, say, the Australian Bureau of Statistics? Not so much. So it's around finding things that fit. So, what I'd like you guys to do is, well, we've all had a whole bunch of cards, so we're going to do some exercise. We're going to get you guys to stand up and find someone who is not at your table. I know, terrible. Up we get. Find someone who is not at your table, and what we're going to do is we're going to share how does your top value fit with the career that you want. So how does your top value, one of the values that is strongest to you and most important to you, how does that fit with the career that you want? And again, I'm going to go about 5 minutes. Thank you so much for sharing that. Hopefully we've all had a chance to share our own value and listen to someone else's value. Did anyone find that they had anything in particular in common with the person they were speaking to in terms of a shared value or a shared way that that might fit with your career goals? Yeah? Seeing some nods? Some nods and some Yeah, that was a bit there. Look, to a certain extent we are going to have similarly aligned values because we're all academically minded. Was there anyone who had a value that was super aligned with a particular career type or a particular goal or a particular industry? Yeah, a couple of people. Anyone who was going, you know what, as long as I get to live this value, I don't care where I am? Yeah, a few of those. See it. Knowing that will help you make decisions. So it might be, if one of my top values is creativity, it doesn't matter where I work in terms of a company or an industry, as long as my actual work is somewhere that I can be creative. I mean, obviously you don't want like creative accountancy.
It'd be exciting.
I think it'd be exciting for a short period of time, and then it would be very, very boring. So it's a matter of thinking, where are my values and how might that influence where I want to go and the sort of work that I want to do and the sort of environment I want to be in. So if we're starting off from values and what's important to us, the next step is to look at skills. Now, this is usually the part in which I say, so, do you guys think you're skilled? And everyone goes, yep. Yeah? Yeah?
Totally awesome.
Totally awesome. Oh, great. I'll be picking on you in the next section then.
Please.
So, you guys are officially smart people. You got into HDR program. You are smart. Congratulations. Yay. You are also highly skilled. If you weren't when you came in, you will be now. But having skills and being able to articulate those skills, whether that's at a conference saying why you should do some work with me because I'm brilliant, or whether it's at a job interview, why yes, you should hire me, give me some money, I'm awesome. There's a gap. Pro tip from a career educator, don't say give me money, I'm awesome in an interview. That language is I mean, you can try it, but I do not advise it. So there's usually a bit of a gap between having the skills, knowing that we've got those skills, and then being able to articulate that we've got these skills to someone else. And sometimes the articulation of skills feels a little bit cringe. Yeah? It's a bit awkward. So what we're going to be looking at for the next little bit is around that process and those steps. What are the skills that we've got? What are the skills gaps that we might have, which people are usually a lot better at figuring out? And then how do we go about communicating those? So, again, in our groups, because I don't know about you guys, but I've had enough of me talking already. In our groups, we're going to brainstorm what are our skills. Now, the reason brainstorming is really good is because someone else can go, I've got this skill, and you go, oh yeah, I do too. So, we're going to be brainstorming our individual skills, but if someone else says they've got a skill, you can go, add that to the list. So I'll give you guys, let's say, another 5 minutes, and then we'll come back to a group to see how we go. We're going to be brainstorming our skills, and then at the end I'm going to ask you guys to share a couple of the skills that you brainstormed in your group with everyone else. Are we clear on what we need to do? Yep. Okay. So, a couple of minutes. What are you good at? How are you awesome? Brainstorming skills.
Prime Minister did work. That and Amazon Prime.
Put on there. People skills. There's like software and customer
I'm guessing we can all do research. Pass front writing. Sounds really good. Apparently we're meant to be doing that as HDRs. Yeah, but that's exactly all it is.
Very good at procrastination.
Yeah, definitely not actually what we're doing.
Object in it already.
You're better off just calling.
But that in itself, it's interesting because those rehab modules that I mean, I find this too, a lot of the work that you do goes on in the back of your mind when it comes to other things, because I find that
Yeah, he's just sort of doing it those last 2 hours before it's
yeah, doing mine, like making work on something fast. Also like juggling, but if I'm running. Exactly. I think the house can be like that too.
multitasking.
It's really a skill, but curiosity. It's more about just the people that
That's called the output management. Managing up. Yep. That's taking control of this situation. Versus making it
communication and written, oral, and then bringing is a definite skill, different skill. So we specifically
that's what's last.
the rest of us, we don't have to. We'll rate them from 1 to 4 again.
Oh, has he got skills? Mine have gotten better.
So what is the last skill?
Or field work skills.
There's a skill or an attribute.
Like also like skills outside of
you have to have that
research, like your creativity, like being funny, that's also like that's
But it's also more about the perseverance, moving forward. Yeah, things are like, it's not just a why, how you do it. You're saying curiosity, and I think it's a skill, but the attitude you have, it's just
has another characterization.
like how you hear it.
Characterization.
How you say
So if you have imaging or structural analysis or whatever it might be, or maybe. So what's your PhD doing?
Synthesizing information. Yeah.
Oh, cool. So you do statistical. Yeah. So yeah, statistical statistics. I would say leadership or like management. We're all leaders in this. I don't think they have to be enough. Oh,
meeting goes another 2 minutes. 2 minutes to wrap up, and in that 2 minutes, figure out who your speaker for your group is going to be. Or speakers.
It's great, it's so easy, everyone's made a package to do this stuff. You know, you just type in, yeah. Once you get the basics, it's really easy. I thought that so I did like an undergraduate statistics course, and I was like, I don't know what this is, stay away. It's really, like, when you sit down and look at it, it's really simple. It saves so much time because people develop particular languages too. And then if you have a problem, you just search the problem because sometimes you should have the same issue. Yeah, so you can literally you can take your millions of lines of data set and suck it all into as long as you know what it looks like, you can sort of tell it to the T value or the P value or whatever. And then you can do the program yourself.
Well, thank you for managing that.
You can do it all in R. It's great. Yeah.
Great skill.
Yeah, it is. It's 100% worth it. So if you don't have the skill, 100% I'd go and just do it because you can do
So we just get lost in such a way that they avoid that.
hires the whole RStudio or R software and then get RStudio that's the
Alright, I'm noticing the decibel level of the room's going down. So what we might do is come back to the group. Now, hopefully in that 2 minutes of brainstorming we figured out who was going to be speaking. Would any of the groups like to volunteer? Or shall I be mean and pick someone?
What are we speaking about?
So you're sharing, what are the skills that your group came up with?
Right, yeah, like,
We don't necessarily have them, but that's what we came up with. Is that right?
So we're brainstorming what are the skills we have as a group. So it might be, I heard a couple of discipline-specific skills that maybe 1 or 2 people in the group have around the coding or something like that. But some of the skills that we came up with as a group. Make sense? Anyone? Yep.
Right.
You've been voluntold?
I've been voluntold. I actually volunteered her, but she's so time management. Everyone had that skill at the table. Time management, definitely, and planning. Daydreaming came up as well as a good skill. No, day drinking.
Oh,
Daydreaming.
Daydreaming is a skill too.
I do daydream occasionally.
that's creative thinking, isn't it?
We have that too.
I think daydreaming falls under networking, doesn't it?
Yes. Actually, that's the official term of daydreaming.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's go out for a network. Independence. Another one. Stress management or pressure management. Some people have it, some people don't.
Yep.
But it's thinking for it.
If you don't have it if you don't have it now, you'll have it by the end. Yep.
Adaptability is a good one as well.
So there was some networking, some adaptability, some stress management, multitasking, yep.
Independence as well as.
Yep, independence, sometimes important, depending on where your supervisor is.
People management.
Okay. So came up with quite a lot in your group then. Now, was anyone sort of sitting there going, oh, yeah, got that one. Yeah. Would any group like to add on to that? Some of the others that you came up with that haven't already been said? Yep.
Yeah, so we had research, critical thinking, multitasking, networking, communications, analytical characterization techniques, leadership, patience, and teamwork.
Okay, so a whole bunch of what we call sort of transferable skills, so skills that can apply across multiple domains. And also, I'm not a tech person, but that sounded like a specific tech skill in there as well.
I was just general analysis or characterization. So analysis of anything, you might analyze a document, you might analyze a protein, you might analyze a...
Yep, cool. So tying in like the analytical, critical thinking side.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. What else out of the two lucky last groups? Who wants to go first? Yep.
We specifically talked about stakeholder Communication. Yeah. Like for example, presenting a workshop at the last minute even, or maintaining a relationship like networking through.
Yep, absolutely.
And we said resilience as well. I think those are three. We put like things like project management, time management, like we call it organisational skills.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And final group, anything to add?
I'll focus on the people ones, because we had people skills, we had listening, curiosity, we had communication, we had teamwork and collaboration. And there's like a certain, well, there was kind of like a theme of how it's done, like stuff like curiosity. So I don't know if that qualifies as a skill, but it's important.
No, let's say it does. So a lot of the people skills around what we tend to call sort of like the soft skills of communication. Communication is a horrifically important skill, which you'd know if you've ever had to work with someone who's bad at it. Hopefully that person isn't someone that you rely on to answer emails. Sometimes you don't. But we can already see from the range of skills that you guys have brainstormed, there's a lot there, right? Yeah? Whether that's discipline specific, and I know we didn't all share discipline specific stuff, but I did hear some specific technical ones coming up. Whether it's around the project management side of things, so I can start a thing and get it finished on time and in budget, hopefully under budget, or at least over. I heard a few managing up. Not necessarily a skill that you want to talk about in an interview, but a very useful one to have nonetheless. And the people skills, the communication skills. So you guys already have a ton of really, really useful, relevant skills. Now, did we get them all from PhD or Master's Research? No? So maybe they came from work? Maybe they came from just general life stuff, if you've got to juggle multiple things. Maybe they came from a previous role. A lot of them probably do come from a PhD, particularly, written communication skills. We can probably tick that one off. But if we think about all the skills that we have, they're all really, really valuable. And these are all skills that employers say that they want, particularly around the ability to think critically, to learn, to be in the workplace and be someone nice to work with. So I did prepare some earlier. Ye olde Google. Basic, but effective. So these are some of the skills that we have done some research on and found that these are the skills that you guys have. Defining a problem and identifying possible causes. Identify sources of information applicable to a given problem. Understand and synthesize data. Design and analyze surveys. Develop organizing principles to sort and evaluate data. Project management. Identifying goals and setting goals. Prioritizing, being flexible. Working with group discussions, motivating others. Mentoring. For anyone who has a chance to potentially be a supervisor for, say, master's or honours student, that counts as mentoring. Collaboration. Teaching, if anyone's done tutoring, that counts. Navigate complex bureaucratic environments.
I used to work in state governments.
Yeah, you've got it on the But for anyone else, I believe it's the annual progress round coming up quite soon. Bureaucratic environments. Fight under pressure, learn new things, work effectively with limited supervision, write clearly, edit, public speaking skills, focus, understanding, and being able to give and receive feedback. These are all super, super valuable skills that employers want when they're hiring us, but also the people that we will be working with want us to have. I mean, I can't imagine anyone going, no, I absolutely, definitely want to have a co-worker that shares my office who has none of these. Yeah, no. So these skills are how we find work, how we grow our opportunities, we get promotions, we get opportunities, but we also have a decent time in the workplace. So, it's one thing to know I'm awesome, and I'm comfortable saying that I'm awesome, and I've got all these skills. But we also have to look at where these skills apply. So, what we've got... Oh, actually, just to go back, was anyone surprised by any of these? No? Was anyone going, oh, I do have that, but I didn't think I had that? No? We're all 100% aware of how awesome we are.
Yeah, for some reason.
This is nice. It's nice to have such a self-aware bunch. Usually I say, what are you good at? And people go, okay, what is a person who is similar to you good at? Oh, all these things. I think maybe there's a connection. Apparently extrapolating from incomplete data was not a skill. So, what we are going to do now is if we're thinking about all the skills we've got, okay, well, how do we marry that with the skills that employers might be looking for? Now, I say employers, that could be industry, that could be academia, that could be going for an RA job, that could be going for a grant and making, the argument for why, yes, you should give me all this money. My project is great, but also I am a safe bet for your investment. So, what we've got is a couple of different job ads. Now, these jobs are all old, so please don't get excited and go, ooh, I could apply for that. But if you do get excited by anything, feel free to hang on to these and say, what's similar? So what I'm going to do is pass these out. Now, I've got 3 different jobs and 4 groups. So someone is going to, one lucky group, is going to get a choice. And it's going to be you guys. Pick one. Awesome. There we go.
Wrong one.
Too late if it's the wrong one. If you want a different one, you have to come all the way up front. So, what we're going to do as far as this next activity goes is we're going to be reading through these job ads. And what I'd like you guys to do is we're basically pulling them apart. Now, this is a useful skill to have. So, what are they actually asking for? What are they saying is the key requirements? Now, sometimes they've been nice and they put that under a heading saying key requirements. But it's more than just that. So what are they asking for? What are the skills they want? What are the experiences they want? And so I'll give you guys, let's say we'll do 5 minutes and then we'll check in and see how we're going. Around what are the jobs saying that they're looking for.
Okay, so selection criteria. We want somebody with tertiary qualification in medical, social science, and demonstrate ability to carry out research, monitoring, evaluating, demonstrate excellence with period documentation required for research and evaluation of documentation, communication skills, both verbal and written, and demonstrate capacity to convey data to insight which can be shared with a wide range of audiences, understanding of financial well-being and its relation to financial and social exclusion. Desired. Some experience of facilitation, workshops, or focus groups, discussion is desired. The capability and commitment to work in alignment with the values of bullshit, rights and finance.
This used to be.
Values human dignity, respect, social justice, audacity, compassion, and reconciliation. So those are like audacity, like researching. Yeah. This is program design. I don't even know the job. It's not something I would go for. But I mean, kind of interesting like that structure. So there was something in there about well-being too, actually. And they're small loans too, aren't they?
I think
Oh, yes.
well, that's why I did it like that, because I hadn't got it expensive. But if I had to adapt it, then I could have maybe thinking outside.
Taking the risk on who's going to invest in.
Or otherwise, being research. Because a lot of time they're searching funding
Parent documentation of target
innovation, major technology,
communication stuff.
plus it's all about you have to
Yep. Understanding of financial well-being and its relation to financial social exclusion.
Primary purpose is
Key responsibilities.
then the YouTube research innovation portfolio.
I'm not trying to take this whole thing over, but
Working within the human hemisphere.
especially if it's not my skill set in a way. Quantitative, I'm not quantitative.
Anybody's finance? Business students yet? No, I don't have the skills to do
So the main condition is that evaluate. Analytical and critical thinking.
That's what you're trying to do.
Ensure that develop detailed training sessions, workshops, associated resources, coordinate trainings.
It's more about the people that are getting the loans rather than the money.
Other resources required training to use researchers across all the standards to show develop tip sheets, resources to educate researchers.
Okay, so do we have qualifications in humanities, social sciences, and analytical skills? Demonstrated ability to plan and conduct research, monitoring and evaluation, evidence-based advice, demonstrated theory documentation requirements, communication skills, and convert data into insights, which we will have procedures. Understanding of financial well-being. That's the only time it says relation to finance.
Okay, one more minute and then we'll come back to the group.
Exactly.
Selection criteria say three
Financial literacy versus
inequality, being aware of inequality.
workshops.
Teamwork.
First in commitments for original alignments of prevention.
Well, we only just doing key requirements.
ability to learn this.
Facilitation, qualification, social science, fine.
If it's something like integrity was really high, if you want to have something like
I know it's not
feel good about taking the job.
In-depth knowledge, legislation, guidelines, relation to health research,
All right, guys. So we might come back to the group. Now, I do just want to check in with everyone. Now, you guys were given different types of jobs at random. So, not necessarily the same as if you had gone, oh, yeah, that's really cool, I want to apply for that one. In terms of the process, in terms of looking at a job ad and pulling it apart and going, all right, well, what are they actually looking for? Who was feeling super confident, yeah, that was so easy, could do this in my sleep? Yeah, a couple, wasn't too hard? Was anyone sitting there going, how do I find the mysteries unlocked within? A couple of people that have just avoided eye contact, so I'll take that as a yes. And everyone else? Yeah, some of you guys are tutors, you know the way it works. And for everyone else, there's usually a bit of middle ground around, this as a process isn't necessarily an easy process. And it is harder when you're doing it for something that you really want as opposed to something where it's more like an academic intellectual exercise. So I do want to preface this with saying, if you are looking at a job ad for any of these activities and you're going, I'm not sure if this is right, that's okay, that's normal. Applications and pulling apart selection criteria and all that sort of stuff, it's not something that we do very often. And particularly for those of us that tend to be more academically minded and maybe we've been writing high-level academic stuff, the writing involved in the selection criteria and the thought process involved in putting applications and all that sort of stuff is very different. So if you do get to the point where you're going, oh, this feels really awkward and uncomfortable and weird, that's okay, it just means you're not a robot. It's normal. So if this is feeling a bit, well, I'm not quite sure, don't worry, that's perfectly okay, perfectly normal. Now with all that said, I would like a volunteer to share what some of the skills were that you pulled out of your job ad. So each table, I'll get you guys to kind of combine because you have the same role. Brief description of what the job was, and then what are the skills that you pulled out from the description. Would anyone like to go first? Yep.
Okay, so the job was basically as a training coordinator where you had to train people in the human research and ethics involved at UQ, whereby you had to have the ability to present complex information to a variety of audiences. You had to have excellent written and oral communication skills, particularly in the presentation of information to an audience for training and professional development purposes. You had to be able to prove that you had the ability and willingness to manage complex workflows and meet deadlines in a team and self-proven environments. You also had to show experience with the Microsoft suite and to be able to prioritise your own workload and work independently, meeting deadlines.
Okay, cool. What about the other group? Anything to add?
No, I would agree with his actual experience in the role, previous role. So, but yeah, that's pretty much.
So if we think back to some of those skills, do we think that we've actually got them? So if we're thinking of like the written and the oral communication skills, Yeah? Now they ask for demonstrated written or oral communication skills. So it's one thing to say I've got them, one thing to say I've got them and here's the proof. But some of the other things they're looking at were around managing workflows, meeting deadlines. Do you reckon we can manage that? Yeah?
Could you say in those situations that, well, I've completed 2 degrees where I had to meet deadlines for assessments and the like, and I've had to present seminars for that assessment, whereby there's been certain dates I've had to have these done by.
Yeah.
That's perfectly reasonable examples, or they're like, oh no, that's actually not good enough because that was part of your degree and expected. We want to see something else more in a workplace environment.
It's an okay example, but you are on the money in that they probably do want more of a workplace example. The reason being, and again, this is very general, very broad, employers value stuff that you did as work as opposed to at uni. Now, whether that's undergrad or postgrad. The reason being, if I don't get my thesis draft in to my supervisor on time, I will get a sternly worded email, I will get an are you okay, I will get a do you need to push the deadline back, and maybe I'll need to just kind of make sure I'm a little bit early with everything later on.
But
if my thing that I have to do for my actual work, if that's 2 weeks late, well, guess how much money I've just cost my company? The stakes are different. You mess up in undergrad assignment or in, something that you're doing as a study type thing, okay, you get a bad mark. You mess up in the real world, you can kill someone. So employers will value and I know we're QUT, employers will value the real world experience. You stay here long enough, and whenever you hear the words real world, you just see navy blue. Employers do value real world examples. Now, if the best example that you have is a university setting, then you use the language more around the project management. So less around assignments and more around, these are the research projects that I manage as part of my PhD, as part of my master's. So you try and make yourself sound as impressive as possible. But no, that's a really good point. We want to be able to prove that we've got the skills that they want through the most relevant practical stuff. And one of the reasons that they ask for examples like this is, okay, how do I tell out of a room full of people, if you are all going for the same job, how do I know who's the best one for the job? Well, the person who's like, well, I know I can do this job because I did this in my last job, and this in the previous job, and this in the previous job, which surprisingly was very, very similar to this one. The best, any psychs or behaviourists in the room? One of our favourite sayings is the best predictor of future behaviour is past behaviour. So if you can say, that's why they always ask for demonstrating skills. If I can say, I know I can do this thing you want me to do because I've done it before, it means you're a safe bet. Is that making sense? No, it was a bit of a tangent. So, in terms of things where they were asking for, they asked for experience, and this is one of the desirable things. Experience working within research or research administration in a large, complex organisation. Do we think we have that one? Yep. Yeah, so that's probably a wonderful chance to go, behold, my research degree. So those are actually really applicable. What about for one of the other jobs? What did we pull out from one of the others? 2 tables left. You guys? What was your role?
So our role was a program design and evaluation analyst for a microfinance company. And the skills were quantitative and qualitative data gathering and analysis, analytical skills, preparing documentation required for research, evaluation of reports and presentations, communication skills, both verbal and written, understanding financial well-being and its relation to financial and social exclusion, which was quite interesting.
Okay.
And some experience of facilitation in workshops and focus groups, and then supporting of the team and project delivery.
So in terms of some of the skills around there, so there was some communication skills and facilitation. How do we feel about those? Do we reckon we probably got those? Yeah?
Communication, yes. Facilitation, and maybe not.
Okay.
Unless we tutors or something.
Unless you've tutored? Yeah. Sometimes it can just be, so this counts as facilitation, it's not necessarily tutoring. Sometimes it can be sharing an activity in, say, a group meeting or things like that. So that might be one way that we've got it. Analytical skills. Guessing most of us probably feel confident in that. Yeah? Excellence, nothing else. Excellence in preparing documentation required for research and or evaluation reports and presentations. Yeah? We're pretty confident we can do that. We may not necessarily enjoy doing it, but we can do it. Yeah? All right, what about the third group? Lucky last, what was your role?
It was Senior Research and Evaluation Officer. The primary purpose was to measure outcomes and impact, which we said was different area analysis and management. Drive evidence to practice service development. We said that was sort of actually like implementing what we find. So I guess that was analytical skills. And facilitate quality improvement. So that was also using the information found and implementing it, which would also take communication, stakeholder engagement, and identify areas of need. So I guess like the needs assessment, also arising from the data analysis.
Yep.
And of course, when we actually looked further into the primary purpose, they were pretty much exactly what they said they wanted. But they also, use words like project management, capacity building, teamwork, and relationship management. They did actually also have on the back, which scared me personally, was behaviour principles, and so that was much more about your personal behaviour.
What did they want for your personal behaviour?
Yeah, they're looking for a really accomplished person who is lively, and they define it by have passion, drive, and resilience. So we argued, okay, we are learning resilience now during our PhD, but I'm not sure if that makes me really lively. You need to be accountable, responsible, strive for excellence, value, and learning. Yeah, you need to share stories to inspire people. You need to implement new behavior, which is over the top what's already to implement new ways of working. You need to empower, collaborate, inspire, value other care, and of course listening. So this might be simple ones, but yeah, it sounds like a really accomplished person. I'm not sure everyone is really that top-notch personality.
They want a high achiever, well, I suppose it's called a go-getter, and I would bet you money that if you were to look that organisation up and look at the organisation's values, it would look really similar to what we've just looked at. So a lot of the time there's alignment with organisational values as well. How about those skill sets and those personal characteristics? Do we feel that we've at least got some of those? I'm not sure about the telling stories bit.
Like you might feel that you have them, but how are you able to demonstrate that in a sort of job application saying, oh yeah, I'm really passionate about things.
I like things and stuff.
Critical thinking.
And I'm fun.
I'm fun, and as proved by the fact that I went to the Valley for 3 weekends in a row. Or how do you sort of demonstrate
that's life
that?
Experience. That's the real world.
How do you demonstrate that in a job application?
Does anyone want to hazard a guess for that one?
I have no idea, but I imagine that if you're setting a CV, for example, the things that go outside of your work as well are an indication of what type of person you are. For example, hobbies, even though it seems inconsequential, if you have more interesting things there, or if you have more daring things there, then perhaps they're going to assume that you're a person that's more daring, more interesting, more fun, more
extracurricular activities.
Yeah. I do want to clarify, extracurriculars are not a necessity. Now, disclaimer for anything for resume or applications, if they ask for it, put it in, unless they ask for age, gender, race, socioeconomic status, marital status, number of children, in which case report them because that's illegal. But yeah, so disclaimer is if they ask for it, then do it. But generally speaking, hobbies and that sort of stuff, you don't have to put them in, but you can.
So my question is, if we're doing applications through like online or whatever, you've got to get it through the software that the recruitment agencies put it through, because they're all lazy bastards who are going to read our stuff in the first instance.
I believe we call it text recognition software to enhance efficiency. Yeah.
So it's all meaningless unless you can get through the first hurdle.
Yep.
Which I don't seem to be able to ever do.
The keywords.
Yes, keywords. Is this something that you guys are interested in looking like the application side of things? Yeah? Well, do you know what? I think we might do... Yeah?
I have two questions.
Yep.
Part A, the person who doesn't have any work experience, for example, you just did your research and you're like applying for a job. So you basically have got your Microsoft, the PowerPoint skills or your time management skills, all those. So when you're filling an application, would you say, well, I finished my PhD in 2.5 years, so I'm pretty good with the time management. So is it okay that whatever you've done in your PhD, you still project that as a part of, time management or your knowing the computer skills, the softwares, or analyzing skills? Or do you have to have a work experience of your research?
Work experience absolutely helps. I just want to check in that what I had with the rest of today was we're looking at like ways to build skills. I'm guessing based on the brightness in everyone's eyes, we'll start asking about applications. Do we want to focus on that instead? Or a little bit more time on that briefly?
I would prefer that.
Yeah? Okay. So you'll still get all the slides and everything, and we'll still cover ways to build skills, but we'll have an application tangent. And I know you had a question and been waiting very patiently, or a comment before. Maybe?
I can't remember what it is now.
All right. Well, if it's important enough you remember it, it'll come up again. Okay, a couple of broad general rules for applications. You're about to get a 2-hour resume workshop condensed into 5 minutes. Here we go. So, general rules for applications across the board. The entire purpose of your resume, your application, your selection criteria, I will just use resume as shorthand. The entire purpose is to say, this is what you are looking for in this job. This is the skills and the experience and the qualities that I have. Look how closely those line up. I am just what you're looking for. The way that we do that is by a couple of techniques. So we tailor our resume every single time. The form resume, where you have your resume and you send it out to every single person and it doesn't change at all. Nope. I'm a big fan of what I call kitchen sink resume, which is basically it's got everything in. And then when I apply for a job, I can look at all the experience that I have and I can go, yep, nope, yep, nope. So it's all there. Past me has done the work. Thank you very much, past me, for doing all this thought.
That's a really good idea.
I know. It is a really good idea. So just make sure you're saving things very carefully so you don't end up sending the wrong version to... It can happen. Make sure you save everything. So that way you can pull stuff apart and that way you're not starting from scratch. So I've got some industry experience. If I'm going for a job at a university, the industry experience is a little bit old, it was a few years ago, I'll chop it out. If I'm going for a role that's got more of an industry focus, you know what? It goes in. And that comes to the next principle, which is what I like to call the relevance triangle, because that's what it is. You know how we go broad to narrow when we're writing our thesis proposal, our research? When we're doing our resume, what we want to focus on is most relevant to least relevant. Most relevant information first. A guiding principle that I recommend when you're writing your resume is assume that the person reading it is reading it at 5:30 p.m. on a Friday afternoon. All their mates are texting them saying, come on, come out for drinks. That is the level of motivation, of energy, and of thought that you can assume that they will put in. Now, I say that not to be negative, but I say that as when you are writing your application, it's very important that you make it very easy for the reader to see how you have what they want. And that could be in terms of using, say, keywords. My resume says I'm a creative problem solver, and I'm going for a job that says they want an out-of-the-box thinker. It's the same thing, yeah? So I will change my language to say out-of-the-box thinker. Now that helps get through the text software, which sometimes the larger companies will use, but also, and I'm not a fan of the software, I think it's a terrible idea, but they don't listen to me, unfortunately. But also, it makes it very easy for the reader, again, we're assuming like Friday 5 p.m. level of energy to go, oh yeah, that's what we want. Oh yeah, that's another term. So it's around making it really, really easy. You know how if you've got a supervisor who's really busy and stressed and you're like, I just want one thing from you. Now, this is how I email my supervisors. I'm not sure if you guys do the same. But question 1, bold, dot point, dot point. I need answer by this date in yellow highlighted. Question 2, bolded, dot point, dot point. Summary, due dates, nice and clear. We do a bit of the project management side of things. Because what I want is an answer. I'm going to make it as easy as possible for them to give me an answer. If what I want is a job, I'm going to make it as easy as possible for them to see how I'm the right fit. That's around the language. That's around how I even describe my research. So, my PhD is on tattoos. Short answer. If I'm going for a job where that will look really cool and interesting, I'll say, researching tattoos. If I'm going for a job that's a little bit more academic, or maybe I'm wanting something more in faculty, I'll say my research focuses on the impact of other perceptions under multiple contexts. Same thing, it's just broad versus narrow. So we use the language that will help people see how we're a good fit. So in answer to some of the previous questions, if what we have is skills that are developed through our research, but we don't necessarily have a whole bunch of industry skills, firstly, have a talk to Kate, because she is the internship guru. Secondly, and it'll be one of the next slides, we look at ways that we can build that experience. And thirdly, we look at ways that we can show really clearly how our experience translates. So I wouldn't say I've got tutoring experience, but I can talk about experience teaching new complex concepts to small groups. It's exactly the same thing. But a reader reading at 5 p.m. on a Friday when all their mates are having drink o'clock is not going to go, what's tutoring? Okay, well I remember from when I was new, tutoring involved someone doing a lot of teaching and facilitation and all that sort of stuff. That's the skill. No, they're going to go tutoring. Oh, you taught kids. You were a lecturer. And they're not going to get the key concepts and the key skills unless we're clear. Now, just for time, I do want to make sure that we've covered everything that we need to cover, but I will be loitering around briefly in the room afterwards if you have any other questions. Hopefully, did that give everyone just enough of a taste of the application principles? The principles are the key things. The only other suggestion that I have for applications is when you write one, it feels horrible. Cringe. I hate writing my resume and I do it for a living. It's awful. It's so cringe. Does anyone else have that? It's really awkward saying nice things about yourself. Yeah? Wonderful technique. I have used this myself. It works. Take your application and your resume. Take your name. Remove it from the application or the resume. Write the name of a fictional friend who just happens to have had the same education and experience and supervisory skills and qualities as you. Say wonderful things about how awesome they are. And then, very important, do not forget this last step. Put your name down. There's actually some research that found that when we think about ourselves, parts of our brain just go. It's a lot easier to talk about a hypothetical person who just happens to have done the same thing. I've actually done this with friends like students. I said, what are you guys good at? And they go, oh, not really good at anything. Okay, what is a clin psych student good at? Oh, all these things. Having that distance can help. Another option is to just kind of sit in the cringe and accept it is going to be cringy. You can also make what I call the politician resume, which is you create a version, you title it do not send ever. You save it somewhere that's completely separate to all your other resumes, and you make the most cringy, horrific, wanky email and resume that you can, like full-on politician. Use as many buzzwords as you can. Feel the cringe, embrace the cringe, and then throw it away. Do not ever, ever send it. And then when you come back to your resume, it won't feel so bad. It's like, did anyone have the parent or the grandparent that said, oh, if you scraped your knee, don't worry, I'll cut your leg off, you won't worry about your knee anymore. Similar principles. So hopefully those are some good overarching principles as far as applications go. We do have some additional support that's available that I'll say at the end. But in terms of the questions of, okay, well, I know how to repackage my skills. I know how to make myself look wonderful to an employer, but I don't necessarily have all the skills that I want yet. This is a really good thing to do. Now, even if you're at the end of your candidature, this is still a really good strategy to be looking at ways to build up your skills. Do some research. I'm a huge fan of LinkedIn research. Who here has a LinkedIn profile? Keep your hand up if your LinkedIn profile is up to date. There we go. And you know what? I'm going to be honest. Mine needs an update as well. LinkedIn is wonderful because LinkedIn is where everyone puts all the things that they've ever done pretty much, and all the places they've worked, and all the skills that they've got, which is really great when you want to do some research and go, okay, so you're researching in this particular area and you're doing this work. Oh, if I look at the QT alumni, someone who I know actually did a PhD with my supervisor, because I got their name from my supervisor, they started out there, and then they went there, and then they went there, and then they went there, and I didn't know those companies would even hire people like me. Add them to the list. So you can get a real nice picture of where people have gone before you, and still be noticed. We all know if you steal from enough people, and you paraphrase and package it into your own words, that counts as research. So, signing up for job alerts. If you know you want to work at a university, here's an idea. Go to their website to sign up for job alerts. If there are particular companies that you're particularly interested in, sign up for job alerts. Do your research on organisations of interest. And that can be Google. That can be going to any events that they run. That can be looking at, do they have a LinkedIn page? There are lots of LinkedIn organisations that you can sign up to. And they're free, and you can engage as much or as little as you like. What are the professional associations in your area? You've also got to consider what you actually want and cross-reference with your options. And by that I mean, if I really, really like the academic lifestyle, but I also really, really, really like leaving work and heading home at 5 p.m. and not working on weekends, maybe I need to look at something that's not necessarily a lecturer or professor, researcher type position. Maybe I need to identify what it is I like about working in the uni environment and look at what else can get me that while still getting me what I need and what I'm interested in. Reflecting on your HDR experience is also a big one. If I know that I want to be, or I think I want to be a top researcher and work in a research institute, and then I remember that RA job that I did where I had to work with a whole bunch of other people in a research institute, and by the end I couldn't believe how much money they were being paid for being that stupid. Okay, maybe we need to do a rethink about the environment or around the work. So think back to our HDR experience. What did we really like? What did we not like? What did we enjoy? What do we want more of? What do we want less of? And you can use that to narrow down your options. So when you are searching for opportunities, whether that's to gain experience, whether that's for work, you can make sure that you're not spreading yourself too thin and you're being targeted. Identify gaps in your skills and experience and opportunities to fill them. Now, generally, this is not something that people have trouble doing. We tend to be a lot easier to find the gaps in our skills than the things that we're good at. And generally, people go, oh, here's my gap. And then they stop looking at how do I actually address this gap. So, think about what are the areas that you either, maybe you need to build up, maybe you want to build up, maybe you've done the LinkedIn research and you've gone, oh geez, everyone seems to have skills A, B, C, and D. Well, I've got skills A, B, and C. Maybe I need to look at building up D. Record everything you do. I know that sounds like horrible administrivia, but trust me, particularly when you get to the application, you will thank the past you for putting details into your resume. You will thank the past you for not making current you try and remember what exactly you did 3 years ago. So, keep things up to date. Work experience is fantastic. Now, I know we've had Katie come and talk about the internships. Fantastic opportunity. 100% do encourage. Work experience, absolutely fantastic. Networking is also good for building work experience. Now, generally speaking, when we hear the word networking, people tend to feel a little bit dirty. There's actually been some research on that. Yeah. Often we think of networking as, hi, nice to meet you, I'm Steph. Hi, can I have a job? Here's my card. Yeah, and we imagine that, you're in a really crowded room and you've got a champagne in one hand and a dodgy bonbon in another and you're trying to talk. and I said this as a horrific introvert, networking can be fun, it can be enjoyable, but you can network in a way that works for you. Networking is around building positive professional relationships. The more people who know you, who like you, who know what you do and who know what you're looking for, the better chance of someone going, hey, we're actually looking for. So my last 3 RA jobs came to me. I wasn't looking for them. And I got them on the basis of that first RA job. And the person who gave me the last 3 RA jobs knew what I could do, liked working with me, knew my skill set, and knew that I was interested in some RA work. That's networking. Networking can be a wonderful way to build experience, to get your foot in the door with industry, particularly because you guys have access to the university databases and the journals. Industry doesn't have that. So you can come in as a source of information, a font of knowledge. It could be, let's see, I've been stalking this company for a while. My supervisor actually knows someone who works there, so I've asked them to set me up with him, with a coffee. They've introduced us. I've gone, I've had a chat, I've asked intelligent questions, not like, lols, what do you do? And then at the end, just say, I'm really interested in this field, in this area you're working with, and if you do hear of any opportunities coming up, I'd love to be informed, or even, so I'm actually doing a presentation at a conference around something that's super, super relevant to what you're doing. Would you be interested at all in maybe getting something like a small white paper or something, or potentially even a 5-minute talk at your next staff meeting around some things that are super relevant to you, but also make you look really good? We're good at talking about our research, yeah? It's the one thing that we're all really good at. I mean, if you meet a HDR person at a party, you will not get away. Update your resume. And you guys have at least some starting principles for that. And creating a LinkedIn profile. Now, for those of you that didn't put your hand up when I asked if you had a LinkedIn profile, now is the time to create a LinkedIn profile. For those of you that put your hand down when I asked if your LinkedIn profile was up to date, now is the time to update your LinkedIn profile. Pro tip, do your resume first, and then it's easier to kind of copy and paste from your LinkedIn. And LinkedIn can be a little bit less formal. Particularly with LinkedIn profiles, like look at some of the profiles, see who's got some good ones, see what you like, and then, that looks cool, I might try that. In terms of job searching, there are formal strategies, and you'll get the slides so you can have a look at the links. I am not the biggest fan of things like Seek because, well, if I can see them, then so can literally everyone else. I'm a big fan of Seek for researching things, so I'm interested in the job of underwater basket weaver. Not ready for that yet, but if I search the jobs now, what are they looking for? Okay, so that's the skills that I need to build. Look for casual or informal opportunities. Talk to your supervisor. So particularly if your supervisor needs an RA, needs a tutor, if your supervisor needs neither of those things, they probably know someone who does. So supervisor is a really good first point of contact. It doesn't have to be primary, can be secondary, can be someone that you just get along with if neither of your supervisors is someone you want to have that conversation with. Conferences and networking. Who's been to a conference? Yeah? Did you go to the dinner afterwards? Yeah? Was it useful?
Yeah.
Yeah? Yeah? So conferences, really good idea if you can. And they don't have to be over in the middle of somewhere fancy, although I do know of at least 3 people who planned their submission date in order to go to a conference in Paris. They worked that one out real well. But look at conferences, options to network. Chairing a panel at a conference is also really good because 1, it's a good thing on your CV, particularly if you're wanting to go on the academic side of things, and 2, it gives you a chance to talk to people and also have people know you. Professional associations. Is there anything in your field? So for me, psychologist, there's what we call the College of Org Psychs. That's one of the professional associations in my field. And even if I'm not a member, I can still see what their events are and go to those and meet other people like me. Having an online profile, so LinkedIn, for anyone who's more of the creative side of things, Do you have an up-to-date online portfolio? Do you have work samples? Do you have online portfolio in terms of visual art? If you're a writer, is there any way to access that? Volunteering as well is an option. So there's all these things that you can do to build your skills and build your experience. Before I get to the details on that. So we've started off with looking at our values. What's important to us? What do we want? What kind of drives us? Why have we put ourselves through a PhD? What do we want? What's important? If we know what's important, and then we get to, okay, so I know what's important, I know what I want, and now I know what I'm good at. I know these are my skills. I know that maybe these are the skills that I need to build up a little bit, but I know this is what I'm good at. If I then know how to pull apart what employers are looking for, you don't need to be in the job search stage to start looking at applications and looking at advertised positions and go, oh, they all seem to be asking for this. Let's look at building that up. We know what we want. We know what we're good at. We know how to see what employers want. And then we can look at actually communicating that and showing how, yes, I do have what you want. Give me some money. In terms of support, we have drop-ins at HiQ in the library, KG and GP. Now I haven't put the times next there because sometimes they do change, and they will be changing in the holiday period. At the moment, it is 11 a.m. until 2 p.m. Monday to Friday, and I'll send out the link for the HiQ website as well, so that you'll get the information that gets updated. So that can be career conversations. You can bring your resume in if you wish. Please print it out or bring it on your computer. If you bring it on your tiny little phone, I will tell you to go away and print it for me. You laugh, but there's a reason that we have to say this. So, 11 a.m. until 2 p.m. Monday to Friday, KG and GP in the library. GP, ground level, go down one. KG, ground level, go up one. When in doubt, ask someone in an orange t-shirt and say, I'm here for the career person, and they will get you where you need to go. And again, we cover anything from help me with my application to what do I do with my life. HiQ is the library concierges.
Oh, okay.
So, upstairs, all the way up Cardiac Hill, over here, and then GP, it's pretty central, so library. At GP, it's B block, I think it might be R block here. And basically, there's a whole team of people like me, probably a little bit nicer, who are here to help you, and are happy to do so. We have some online modules as well. Now, again, these were designed to be more applicable to the broader university. So if you're after specific HDR support around how do I be an academic, it's not going to be as applicable to you, but it's worth a look. They're free, they're on Blackboard, and I'll also send you guys the link on how they're all of that. So there is a whole bunch of support. We exist. Please come use us. And also right now is a really good time because all the undergrads are too busy thinking about their assignments. So yesterday I was in there for 2 hours and I think I spoke to 3 people. So come and speak to us. Stop me from being bored. We also have a website. This is the VTAE website, Careers Outside Academia. And if you're not already a fan of Thesis Whisperer, I would recommend her blog as well. And again, I'll send that link out. So Thesis Whisperer is in Newburn, Australian academic, has a whole range of stuff. And recently put out a post on, here are some common job interview questions. Here is how you answer them. Can be quite useful, so I'll send that out as well. Alright, so we have hit it for time. I hope you guys didn't mind the tangent. I hope it was useful. I will be loitering around for the next 5 minutes if anyone has a burning question. If not, come and see us in HiQ, up the hill or over at GP. And thank you guys so much for engaging and participating. Really appreciate all the stuff you've done, because I know it's the end of the day and everyone is just ready to. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm only going to record with USB.
submitted
Well, yeah, thank you very much.